investing in the green revolution. As societies across the world transform themselves to save the planet, we're following the money and asking how banks are performing in the race to net zero. Welcome to The Exchange. I'm Guy Schoen, bringing you the biggest news and interviews from all around the business world. Now, the transition to a lower carbon economy requires one of the largest rewirings in global economic history. Businesses across the globe are becoming more focused on the environment, with government pressure to reach net zero targets forcing major societal changes. Well, earlier this year, the UN Climate Conference outlined some of the key challenges ahead. We're now in a critical decade for governments and businesses to start introducing measures that are environmentally focused, with the UN warning it's now or never for sectors to get their plans in place. Well, global emissions need to be reduced by nearly 43% by 2030 for the world to ensure it does not go beyond that 2-degree temperature rise limit. However, it is still theoretically possible to keep global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius with rapid and deep emissions reductions across all sectors of the global economy. Some stark warnings there from the United Nations. But as investment in going green grows, how are the banks playing their part? Well, let's speak to someone holding the world's banking bosses to account on this issue, UN climate change high-level champion for Egypt and executive director of the International Monetary Fund, Mahmoud Mohideen. Welcome to the show, Dr. Mohideen. So what do climate change champions then actually do?
So we are basically catalysts and helping in implementation of the climate action agenda in its variety of lines of work, in mitigation, in adaptation, proposing new ideas, and focusing on finance and partnerships. In terms of assessing if we're doing a good job or not, we work based on good practice of disclosure and being transparent about everything we do.
Interesting stuff there from Executive Director of the International Monetary Fund. But how is this sector-wide shift to sustainability changing what bankers do day to day? Well, we sent out our reporter Ryan Caprold to the Qatar Islamic International Bank in Doha to investigate.
Oh yes, Guy, I am here today at the headquarters of QIIB, right here in Doha. Now, over the next year, the Qatari government has pledged $75 billion to make its economy more sustainable. So let's go and have a look inside at a company that's banking on going green. Welcome to The Exchange, Mohammed. Thank you for joining us. Could you just outline for us what sustainable banking means in practice?
Thank you, Ryan. Actually, the climate change risk became to be a very important risk that the whole world is facing, and also the banking and financial institutions. If we're talking about sustainability banking, we are talking about the strategic planning and the execution of the banking operations and the business activities, while taking into consideration the 3 main pillars for sustainability: environment, social, and governance. I can mention the result of a survey that is done by EY and Institute for International Finance. Check and see the risk priorities for the chief risk officer and the board members. And climate change risk began to be the 3rd priority for the risk management for the next 12 months. And it's the 1st priority for the chief risk officers and board members for the coming or the next 5 years. Our strategy, sustainable strategy, aligns with Qatar National Vision 2030 and also with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and the Qatar Stock Exchange market sustainability measures.
Ryan Caprold there with a look inside the headquarters of QIIB in Doha. Well, what do academics make of all of this? I caught up with Caroline Linhares and John Grant, both lecturers on climate at Sheffield Hallam University in the UK. and they outlined some of the key benefits for the banking sector becoming more sustainable.
One of the benefits should be perceived as being legitimate. So of course that we know that clients or commercial clients, for example, and some funds, they are looking for green investments because of values-based investments. So there is this sense of being perceived as being environmentally responsible. So they have to offer options for those investors.
One of the elements of the retooling of our society to one that is sustainable is that the society is much more efficient. It uses everything much more efficiently than we currently do. Now, one of the classic opportunities for business to improve profit is to improve a business's efficiency. You can increase your market, you can increase the value of your items, and the other one is to increase the efficiency of your whatever it is you're doing.
Finance chiefs, in theory at least, then can prioritise both planet and profit. Well, now it's time for our regular feature, Business in 60 Seconds. Start the clock. It's AGM time for Allianz Pharmaceuticals, the group that employs just 285 people across Europe, North America and Asia, outsource all of their manufacturing and logistics. Bosses will be hoping that this radical asset-light strategy will serve them well as they make inroads into high-growth markets like China. And staying with China, Air China prepare for their annual gathering after a tough period of travel restrictions, and with borders now reopening, the Chinese flag carrier is resuming long-haul routes. Coca-Cola Euro-Pacific partners also get ready for their AGM. The world's largest Coca-Cola bottler by revenue sells more than 3 billion cases each year, generating 15 billion euros. The group's This Is Forward sustainability campaign is at the centre of their future plans, with bosses demanding both their own plants and suppliers make the shift to run on renewable energy. Well, as we've seen, the United Nations Climate Champions movement is bringing together the greatest climate action coalition in history. Banks and big businesses do appear to be taking meaningful and sustainable action, but rewiring the entire financial underpinnings of the planet and doing so at maximum speed, well, that's a challenge that won't be easy. Well, that's all we have time for on this edition of the show. Thanks for watching. Please do check out euronews.com for all your latest business news, and join us again next time on The Exchange.